What's going on, guys? My name is Wave, and in today's video we are going over a tier list of some of the best and worst superpowers. Now, there are quite a few superpowers on here that are absolutely, maybe not kill, but I do a lot to get. But there are quite a few superpowers on here which you would have to kill me to force me to get them because they sound like absolute hell. Anyway, this is going to be really controversial, so tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. But without further ado, let's get into it. So first up, we got one of the most famous superpowers. This is super speed. Obviously this is coming from the Flash, or if you're a Marvel fan, maybe Quicksilver. This was a pretty solid one. I'm gonna give this upper A tier right off the bat because I feel like there's a lot of uses for this. You can get to places really quickly, and you're going so fast that I feel like people would just be like, what was that? And just see like a blink of light coming through, or maybe some wind, but nobody really noticed. So the second you get going, you just have to stop somewhere that isn't surrounded by people. So I feel like there's a lot of uses. There aren't that many downsides. I think it's pretty cool. I just hope there's a way to run without activating it, because I feel like that would really suck if every time you play sports you just started going like super speed. And it would also give up the fact you have superpowers pretty quickly. Next up, we have immortality, and this has got to be one of the worst superpowers of all time. This is immediately F tier. Just imagine you just see all your friends die, and you have to live permanently, and eventually another big bang happens, the universe is gone, and you're just floating around space. That sounds like absolute hell, and for that reason alone, I would not want immortality at all. Next up, we have regeneration, and I think this would be pretty good, because you lose a limb, you can regrow it. Regeneration is you can heal yourself, and healing is you can help others. Healing, this has got to be, I want to say S tier, because that'd be really helpful, but you can't reveal it too publicly, because some people are just going to expect you to heal everyone. Your life would be kind of hard. Regeneration, we're putting that in A tier. I feel like those are all pretty useful. Next up, we have telekinesis, and this is basically like the Force. We can use your mind to move stuff around, and that telekinesis, actually that'd be pretty useful too. I'm gonna put this higher A tier. Eventually I might have to move some of the stuff into S tier, because that would be so cool, just being able to have stuff float. I've always wanted to use the Force. I think everybody at one point has wanted to use the Force, just a childhood dream. I feel like there's a lot of uses for that, and not too many downsides once again. Next up, we have telepathy, sending your thoughts to somebody else. And as much as this would be really cool, we already have a way of doing this. It's called a cell phone. If I want my thought to just go to somebody else, I can send it to them. And I feel like if there's something that I wouldn't want to send to somebody through a text, I can't imagine I want to send it through telepathy either. And I feel like that would scare the hell out of everybody around me. So I'm going to give that maybe D tier. I don't think that'd be as useful. Next up, we have mind control, and this one is not a superpower. This is full on a what's the opposite? Okay, it's a superpower in the sense that it's a power, but you use it for evil, so it's a super villain power. It's not something you want as much as it, because you're really doing this, it makes you a terrible person. So I'll put this lower D tier. This is just what villains would use. Teleportation. Now this one, I think I would love it for all the same reasons. Super speed, we can get somewhere really quickly. The best thing though is for this one, super speed, you could carry somebody while running, but it'd be a lot harder. I feel like this one you can bring people with you. This is a high S tier. You can go wherever you want, anytime. You can bring people with you, and you just leave in an instant. I think this is just everything that's good about super speed, besides maybe being able to stop bullets and like fly around bullets and stuff, but even better, I think teleportation has a lot of use to it. Cloning. Now, frankly, as much as I love myself, I think I'm the most incredible person in the world. That's a lie. That's a joke. But I don't want another version of myself out there. I think one of me is already too much. No, we're not. I think cloning is just problematic. And as much as it would be kind of cool to have an army of yourselves, again, I feel like this is only one that would be used for bad. Actually, that's not true. Maybe if I didn't want to go to school for a day, I have a clone of myself go in. But the problem with that is that then you have to give like your clone, like they would want to live their life as well. So like we could alternate school days, but then you don't have the thought go through. And cloning sounds cool, but when you get into the technicalities of it, I can't imagine it'd be that good. I'm giving it C tier. I can't imagine it'd be amazing. This one says power of creation. I think this is probably kind of like Bible's version of creation, and much as that'd be cool, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's been created already. And I mean, this is just, I wouldn't I can't imagine myself really using this too much. Maybe actually no, wait. You create food. Oh, okay, no, this is high up. Again, this is one like healing where you could do a lot of good with it, but it'd be in really heavy demand. So you're kind of the rest of your life you'd just be spent giving people food. It'd be really helpful, but it wouldn't be amazing for just using it for yourself. Invisibility. This is one that at first I thought would be really cool if you're like sneaking into places, but like I feel like most of the time you're just gonna use that, like unless you're sneaking into secure government documents or stealing from people, you're just gonna use it to be a creep or a thief. And as much as it'd be kind of cool sometimes if you just want to leave somewhere quickly just to disappear, I feel like teleportation would be far better for that. So my idea of invisibility is kind of waned. I'm giving that a B tier, maybe C tier to be honest. You're just gonna use it to steal or be a creep at that point, so there's no point. I just don't find it that useful. Phasing, I think this is talking about phasing through objects, and that is low D tier. I don't think I would ever need to phase through an object. I feel like just most of the time be easier to walk around. I don't see many uses in this at all, so I can't imagine that'd be great either. Next up we have shape-shifting. And again, this one has some uses, but a lot of time I think it has more negative uses than positive uses. It's mostly just going to be used for manipulating people, and a lot of the time people won't know if they're actually talking to a real you. I feel like if you're shape-shifting a lot, people can't really trust you, and you kind of would lose who you are in a way. So I think this is also another low C tier. It just feels disingenuous in a way, and would more so be used for manipulative purposes than actual good ones. Next up we have time travel, and this could be really, really good or really, really bad, because if you go back really far, you can obviously cause the effect where a small change completely changes the future. I've seen Back to the Future way too many times, and I already know that is, as cool as it sounds, it is a terrible idea because it just kind of screws everything up. So this one, low F or high F tier, because you're just gonna screw everything up. Back to the Future already warned us, so I'm not challenging that. Next up we have the ability to pause time, and I think this already came up in super speed. If you go fast enough, you kind of are pausing time in a way, like Sonic kind of does. So I feel like this just, like teleportation, would have the other benefit of super speed, but unlike teleportation I don't think there's any other benefits. So I'm gonna put this lower A tier. No, I feel like it's not good to have in the same. I'll put it just below super speed in B tier. Breathing underwater. Now that would be cool, but we already have something called a scuba suit, and unless you're gonna be fighting sharks, I don't see this being useful at all in the slightest. This, I'm gonna put this, I want to say low D tier. It's not useful at all, really. I can't see myself using it very often, if ever. Yeah, that's not amazing. All right, next up we have laser vision, and this would be cool to cut through things, but again, one where you're really only ever going to use it to shoot at people, which a lot of times results in instant death. So I don't think this would really be that helpful, besides maybe cutting through something or burning something, like if you need to start a fire in the woods. So yeah, a high D tier. I can't see that one being that useful either. Energy blast is another one where you're only ever going to be using it to attack people. So I'm gonna put it right next, maybe a little bit behind laser vision. Change size. I think this one would be kind of cool, especially for me. I could get taller and just permanently be that size. If we're talking about getting really small, I feel like this is another one like invisibility. You only ever really use that to sneak into something, which a lot of time would just be for theft and to be a creep. So I can't see this shrinking size being that helpful, but sometimes maybe a bit helpful to get a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna give that high B tier. Next up we have super sensors, more commonly known as spider sense, and this one would be, I actually think it would be really helpful. You can immediately know when you're in danger, when something's going wrong, and you can react really quickly because this usually gives you quick reflexes. I think this is more often than not pretty useful. I'm gonna give this in B tier. I don't think you would use it all that often, but I think it could easily save your life and the lives of those around you at some point, so it'd be pretty useful. Next up we have super intelligence, and this can be really useful if you're intelligent in social skills as well, because if you know everything, you can figure stuff out and still be able to interact with people. You can literally do anything. I think this would be one of the most useful skills if you're intelligent in every single field there is. I'm gonna put this low S tier, actually maybe ahead of teleportation. I think that can be really useful, and you can use it to solve the world's problems, just get along better with people. Just intelligence helps with everything, and you wouldn't have to go through years of school because you already know everything. X-ray vision, another example. This I can only see people using. Be a creep. I don't think that this would ever be actually that useful. I can't think of any other use for this other than being creep. So I'm gonna put this just put it down here. There's really no use for that. Next up, we have super endurance, and this is really helpful. First of all, for sports, you never stop running. This would be really useful. Another one is for just getting work done. You get tired, you can just keep going and going. Honestly, I think that's actually high B tier. I feel like that is more useful than you think it would be. Next up, we have elementals, and frankly, I'm trying to think. It's like whether you can summon. I'm assuming fire, water, wind, like from Avatar. I can't think of times in real life where you actually use this consistently. So for that, I'm just gonna put it low C tier. I can't actually see you using this in real life, but they would be kind of cool to have. Next up, this got cut off, but I'm gonna say this is super strength, and this is the most generic superpower. I think that this is just middle of the road for superpower. I'll put this maybe just in front of pause time. Actually, no, put it right here. High B tier. I think this has a lot of uses. If you can control your strength and, like, you know, you're giving someone a high five, you don't like slam them 50 feet. When you mean to press down something, you don't squish something. Like if I'm mad at a Call of Duty game and I punch my desk, it doesn't snap in half. That would be good. I think this has a lot of common uses. It would just be useful for lifting stuff. If you get into a fight, that could be useful. But as long as you can kind of control it, it'd be good. Next up, we have flight. And this would be useful for the same reasons as teleportation, the same reasons as super speed. And this would be a hell of a lot of fun to use. Except for the fact you'd probably be shot down by the US military. I think this would be kind of fun to use. I'm going to put this lower A tier. Maybe actually, to be honest, probably just below telekinesis for that one. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Next up, we have portals. And I think this is just a crummier version of teleportation. I can't see really using this for anything that you wouldn't use for teleportation. So because of that, I'm going to put this lower down, maybe around flight. It is obviously useful, but it's basically the same as teleportation. Stretching. Now, this would be a weird superpower to have. There's obviously a lot of uses for this, but I can't see myself using this too often. And this would be one where if somebody saw you using this, they would be scared the hell out. You'd probably get killed by the government. Honestly, for most of these, you'd probably get killed by the government, but there's some that would be better at hiding than others. This one would just be a weird one to have. I can't see myself using it too much. Putting it just behind invisibility, kind of an eh. Next up, we have photosynthesis, and for plants is basically where they absorb the sun's rays and turn it into energy. And frankly, a lot of time that's used for their food source. I love eating food. I think food tastes amazing. And if this took away my ability to eat, this would immediately go into F tier. But if it didn't, I think it would be pretty useful. I'm going to put that B tier. Oh, actually, maybe high C tier. Just give you energy. You never get tired if you're in the sun, so you can constantly run. But if that takes away your ability to eat in the process, that would lower it. Next up, resurrect the dead. And as much as that would be great to bring people back to life, I feel like there's plenty of movies that have told us that usually isn't a good idea. So I'm gonna put it just above time travel in F tier. I feel like there's enough movies that have told us that usually that doesn't work out, that I'm not gonna take the risk. Next up, we have weather control. And for the most part, I don't think it actually uses this, but this would be useful to stop droughts and extreme weather events caused by climate change. And as long as you're not like really using it to really mess with weather systems, I think this could be used for the benefit of a lot of people considering what's happening around the world right now. As long as you're not messing with this to just destroy your environment, I think it could be for the better. I'm gonna put that higher A tier. Next up, we have super talent. This just means you're talented at everything, I'm assuming. And frankly, that's going S tier. Being talented at things is actually a gift, and being able to just try something and just get the hang of it would actually be pretty useful. And super luck, I'm gonna give it a similar thing and put this just under super intelligence. Actually, I'll move super talent up too. If you're lucky, you can really do kind of anything. Both these are very broad and apply to a lot of stuff, so they could be pretty useful. But anyway, what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments down below. If you enjoyed, give me a nice thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. And yeah, that's all for the video. Peace out. Bye.
Dreams of living life like rappers do. Back when condom rappers wasn't cool. They wasn't cool.